She's really small, isn't she?
Yeah.
I'll see you later, Anita.
Bye, Nadine. Hi and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Anita and this is Chesterton Community College. And this film was created for a project called The Variety of Islam. This project was created to highlight the variety of Islam in the UK and to inform people about the positive contributions that Muslims have made to our society. I decided to take part in this project because I believe that the stereotypical portrayal of Muslims is often unfortunately associated with terrorism. This film will hopefully inform people about the positive contributions that Islam and Muslims have on society. I'm also participating in this project because I believe that many people think that most Muslims are usually Bengali, Pakistani or Arab, and I think it's important that everyone knows that you can be whatever race and still be a Muslim. In this project, myself and a diverse group of students were involved in taking part in brainstorming sessions where we put our ideas together, training sessions where we polished and developed our ideas, and taking part in interviewing successful Muslims. We interviewed 2 people from the community. I interviewed Shahida Rahman, a local author, and Omar interviewed Karima Williams, a local businesswoman. Also, some of us interviewed each other. We're hoping that the outcomes of this film will be that people look at Muslims in a different and more positive way. This film is called What We're About, and that's what we're here to do, tell you what we're about. Hi Shahida.
Hello Anita.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Cambridge. My parents are from East Pakistan. My father came in 1957. He settled here, and my mother came in 1963. And I was born 2 days before East Pakistan became Bangladesh. And I've got 3 older brothers. We've all grown up here. I'm a twin as well. And I'm married with 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter.
So you write. What kind of stuff do you write?
Well, I've been writing since about 2004, and I wrote about my eldest son, who grew up with a language disorder. He was slightly autistic when he was younger, so I wrote about my experiences, and that was my first book, my first venture into publishing. And since then, I've written articles and I've been published in magazines. And I also wrote an essay called The Integration of the Hijab in Police Uniforms in Cambridge. And that was published in an anthology called Behind the Hijab, and that was in 2009. And just quite recently, my first historical novel called Lascar was published, and that was my first proper book. And I'm hoping to continue that and carry on writing.
What inspired you to write Lascar?
Lascar's my first historical novel, and the word means sailor from Eastern India. And a lot of people don't know what that word means today, because that word isn't used very much today. But I wrote it because we have a family history of someone in our family on my father's side who was a Lascar. And Lascars worked on steamships, British steamships, and they ferried back cargo from India containing tea, coffee, sugar and spices, that sort of thing. So I decided to write it as a fiction novel to educate people and just to revive that rich and unique aspect of world history, and to revive the aspect of the forgotten seamen as well. So that's the reason why I wrote it.
You said that your first book was about your eldest son. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
My first book is called Ibrahim, Where in the Spectrum Does He Belong? And it's my account of how he grew up with a learning disorder. He was slightly autistic when he was younger. And we had lots of records recorded about him. And I just decided to put it in a book. And at that time, there was no book that I could sort of relate to when he was growing up with this disorder. And I felt quite lonely. And there's no one that I could sort of compare him with. So I wrote my experiences down in a book, and I hope to give someone else encouragement through that.
So what next? Are you going to write another book? If so, what about?
Well, I hope to write another historical novel. I also co-wrote a screenplay, and I'm hoping to sell that. But I'd love to see my novel Lascar as a film. But I need to concentrate on my next novel, and it'll be set in Edwardian England. So I'm still thinking about that. I'm doing some research at the moment, but I hope to start that very soon.
So have you had any embarrassing moments?
I have had embarrassing moments, but the one that I can remember quite recently, I had a book signing. My book was launched back in June at Waterstones in Cambridge, and a woman bought a copy of my book, and she asked me to sign it, and she put, "Can you write to Judith Love?" And I actually wrote the words to Judith Love, but she was calling me Love. And it's only when I wrote it in the book, she brought a brand new book, I felt really embarrassed. She just laughed, but she said, "No, I'm calling you Love. I didn't mean for you to write it." And I just was very embarrassed by that, but she was okay with it.
As a Muslim woman, how did you feel about appearing on the front page of Cambridge News?
Well, I was really surprised to appear on the front page because I didn't expect that. I knew that my article would run on that particular day, but I had a really positive response. I got recognised a lot, and I think the thing was, a Muslim woman doesn't usually appear on the front page of our local newspaper. So it put a Muslim woman in a positive light and in a different light where my book was actually showcased on that particular day. So that was good. So Muslim women can do other things. They don't all stay at home. So I showed the fact that I was an author. I am an author and I'm writing books.
Do you think that being a Muslim woman affected the publishing process?
I think generally the publishing industry are open arms about that. But I think I always worried about me having a foreign name and being a Muslim. Perhaps that might affect my publishing chances. But I think at the end of the day, there are other Muslim women and men being published. But I think it sort of crossed my mind that perhaps me having a foreign name could affect my chances of being published. I'm happy to say that I was published in the end. And I think I'm the only Muslim author on my publisher's list. But it's good that I actually sort of made it there.
Thank you for taking part in the interview, and best wishes for the future.
Thank you very much.
Hi Adnan, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, how has your time been at Chesterton for the last 3 years?
It's been great. I mean, when I first came here, it was quite scary. From primary school, you're the oldest, to the youngest when you're in secondary school. It's been really great. I'm really proud of my progress. Did really good in mathematics. Yeah, it's been good.
Do you know what you want to do in the future, or do you see yourself in any position whatsoever?
Well, I do. It depends on the GCSEs I get, because I really want to go into scientific medical research. I'm into that sort of stuff, vaccines, I meant. But it depends on what GCSEs I get. Depends on if I get double or triple science. But yeah, I'm interested in the scientific research in medicine.
Do you get along with everyone in school, such as the Muslims or non-Muslims?
I think I get along with a lot of people, apart from your friends. I'm always getting into arguments with them. Just everything I say, they have to go against. But yeah, I think I fit in with everyone. I think I get along. Hopefully the teachers like me. And yeah, I think it's all positive here.
What is it like being a Muslim, just in general?
Well, it's great. It doesn't really get in the way of anything. It's like in school, it doesn't get in the way of anything. I enjoy my religion. It's great. I get asked questions, but it's easy to reply to. I find being Muslim is good. It's great. Yeah.
So let's put you in a situation where you're maybe in town and you see someone you may know or not know being racist to someone you may know or not know. What would you do about it?
Well, it depends on the situation. If it was people my age, I'd step in. But and if it's only just the two people. But if it was like it was in their 20s and big bulky guy, I wouldn't step in. I'd try and get some other people to help as well, but I wouldn't step in if it would endanger me. But if there was a group of people with me, I would try and help. It depends on the situation.
What do you think should be done to get non-Muslims to know that most Muslims are not bad people?
I don't think that all non-Muslims think that Muslims are bad people. I think in Cambridge we have a good reputation, our Muslim community. But to interact, we could go to each other's events, such as just general things, happening in the parks, or just stuff like that. It would help our communities to interact more.
Have you ever been put in a situation where you found it hard to explain yourself, such as your friend asked you a question about Islam and it's really hard to answer?
Yeah, I have been in that situation before. It's complicated to tell things about Islam, because if you say, for instance, it's about Hajj, you'll have to talk about the 5 pillars of Islam, and then you'll have to talk about why it's obligatory. But it's not hard for me to explain. I have been in this situation many times, but it's complicated. It's a complicated religion. I've been in sort of debates with a friend of mine. We were talking about the Day of Judgment and the Day of Qiyamah and like the end days, the Armageddon basically, and how everything will happen, and it got very complicated. So it tends to be hard to explain stuff, but it's all right.
What is the silliest question you've ever been asked?
The silliest question I've ever been asked? No idea. My cousin, she was asked if she slept in a hijab, but I don't think I've ever been asked a silly question. Sorry, no answer.
Thank you for your time, Adnan.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So here I am with Sharon Barubi. Hi Sharon, how are you?
Oh, hi Emma, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. First of all, before I get confused, are you Sharon or Karima, and when did you change your name?
I was given the name Sharon when I was born by my parents, and when I converted to Islam 26 years ago, the imam that was teaching me at the time, he named me Karima. I don't mind which one's used. I still use Sharon in business, and Karima's used within the Muslim community and amongst friends.
So, when you converted to Islam, what were you before you were a Muslim?
I tried to convince myself I was an atheist, not believing in God because there were so many tragedies in the world and so much injustice, etc., etc. But whenever I was upset or something bad happened, I'd always find myself praying to God. So I think, in fact, actually, I was trying to convince myself that I was an atheist, but deep down probably wasn't.
So, do you think people find it surprising to meet a Muslim businesswoman?
I think yes, Omar, to be honest. I think non-Muslim perception of Muslim women is that we are stuck in the home, not allowed out, definitely oppressed, stuck in the kitchen cooking curry all day and just looking after the family. I think because of the media portrayal of Muslim women, like in Afghanistan, for example, everyone seems to focus on them as they are the norm of Muslim women.
most women, I think, especially in the UK, Muslim women are educated. They have great professions. Many are doctors and lawyers and teachers, and but those people are never reported in the media. Just all the atrocities and bad things are reported there. With myself, all I can say is, yes, I'm a businesswoman. I've got 3 companies. I work extremely hard. And if you look back in history to the first wife of the Prophet, peace be upon him, his first wife was actually a businesswoman and is the perfect role model for young women, Muslim women today. And it's up to them actually to speak up and stand up for their own rights. Islam gave them to them.
Speaking of role models, do you have a role model or hero that you want to live up to? And if so, why is it him or her?
I've got many. So, obviously, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the greatest man of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Modern day, the wonderful Nelson Mandela is my absolute hero. Then actually, there's a lot of just normal people that are my heroes. I don't know them, they don't know me, struggling every day, like in Palestine, struggling for survival, struggling for freedom. They're all my heroes.
I've heard you've been involved in several political campaigns. Are there any interesting stories to tell?
I've always been against injustice. Whoever it's against, and it's not dependent on religion or race, or it's just injustice in general. I started in my teens with the anti-apartheid movement. We did things like hunger strikes, often sponsored actually, to bring awareness. One campaign I was very heavily involved in then was, at the time, sort of black kids were being accused of crimes committed by white boys and thrown into prison. And so we campaigned and campaigning and raising money to send lawyers, solicitors and that out to help them, to get them out of prison. Hunger strikes were quite hard, I have to say, but it was worth it. In fact, I remember my hero, Nelly, as I call him, being released from prison. I was walking down one of the streets here in Cambridge, and I saw him being released, and I just remember falling to the ground crying, and I was just so happy. Everyone thought I was completely crazy. I've always campaigned for Muslim causes. Obviously, most of my adult life I've been Muslim. So there's Palestine, Iraq, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's quite a lot of funny stories. I won't tell you them all, but one particular one was when I was wrapped around a lamppost, and the police, who were being very, very nice and polite, I have to say, were trying to unwrap me. And I was just going up and down the lamppost like a Buddha, actually, because of the position I was sitting in. That's it, really. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of stories, but I can't really tell you them all.
You seem to have done a lot of work based upon Islam. Is it a big part of your life? And if so, why?
I think, yes, I probably have. I've always been involved in different ventures since I converted 26 years ago. For example, I can't remember everything, but it was things like starting nurseries, the Islamic school, which is still going today. I wrote a book that took 20 minutes in order to raise money for the school. Different forums and activities, Eid activities. Yeah, I've always been really, really active. And the reason is I think I'm quite a proactive person. And I just think that you have to, if you want things done, you have to set an example and hope that the generations after you will follow that example. I think we're all a little bit complacent sometimes and, to be honest, a little bit lazy. And, and I always think about the children, that we're so quick to say to them, don't do this, don't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, but we don't actually give them an alternative, which is wrong. And everyone really should be working always for the next generation and to, you know.
What is your primary aim in life, and why does it seem so inviting to you?
Regardless of being a businesswoman and seeming like I'm maybe, I don't know, superficial in this sort of kind of life, you know, the beauty industry, and that's not actually really me. Since I was a young teenager, I've always wanted to be an aid worker. I can imagine myself digging wells and ditches and nursing, you know, dying children. Africa's always been, it's always had like this pull that I've always wanted to go there and help there, and which is probably why I was, you know, involved in the anti-apartheid movement. Palestine, again, very close to the heart. I would love to go and do something there, go and help. What? I don't know, under the circumstances of, you know, life there and in that region and the unrest. I would go anywhere, to be honest with you. I've often thought I'd like to go and help if there's like an earthquake, you know, go and help dig people out, and I'd like basically to finish my days doing something useful and helping people, fighting injustice. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my ambition.
Thank you for your time, Karima. It's been very interesting talking to you.
You're welcome, Omar, and thank you for inviting me. I too found it a very pleasant experience. Thank you very much.
Hello, Sadiq. Firstly, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sadiq Ahmed. I'm 14 years old and I come from Cambridge.
What do you do in your free time?
Well, I mainly play sports such as badminton and football, but I might do the odd reading of a book or something.
Do you like school and why?
Well, I enjoy the aspects of school, and I also enjoy the environment that teachers make, even though that sounds a bit cheesy, but yeah, I like how the teachers make a good experience for students.
How important is Islam to you?
Islam is very important to me. If it wasn't for Islam, I believe that I wouldn't be on the right path. And yeah, Islam is it's the one thing that keeps me in balance in a way.
Do you feel different to others because you are a Muslim?
Not necessarily. I believe that the only difference between me and others is my religion, and we're all equal. It's just the only difference between us is just my religion, and my friends don't really mind that I'm a Muslim. They don't really care.
Do you think Islam should be taught more in schools around the country?
I do believe that Islam should be taught more around the country and from a younger age, because the amount of people that don't know the basic foundation is quite shocking, actually. Because you get taught Islam in year, like, let's say, for example, year 3, and then you would get taught it again in year 7, and then maybe in year 10, and people don't remember it. So if it's taught on a daily, almost every year, then it will be in their mind forever.
Well, Ramadan is coming up. Are you planning to do anything this month? Are you going to be fasting?
Well, yes, I will be fasting this month, and that's one of the main things I'll be focusing on, just making sure that I can keep all the fasts and don't fall under any temptation of eating any food or anything.
While we are talking about Ramadan, do you have any targets or aims for this month?
Well, as I said in my last answer, my main target is going to be to keep all the fasts, because for me it's really important to do that for my religion, and my family expect me to do it since I'm the right age to do it now. So yeah, my main target is going to be keeping all the fasts.
Well, after Ramadan there's Eid. Are you excited, and why?
Well, mainly I am quite excited, but I think it's more exciting for my sister, because it just so happens that her birthday is going to be on Eid. So yeah, I'm mainly excited, but I'm generally more excited for her.
What hopes do you have for the future?
Well, my main hope for the future would be, well, it totally depends on my GCSE results, but I would like to go to the medical side in life. I would rather, being a doctor would be the ultimate dream, but I know that's quite hard. So even being a dentist or optician would be a good focal point for me.
Thanks, Ardik, for the interview.
You're most welcome.